Welcome to Fear and Greed, the week ahead. I'm Sean Aylmer, and as always, I'm joined by economist Stephen Koukoulas. You'll find him at thekouk.com, thekouk.com, and on X using the handle the Kouk. Stephen, good morning.
Very good morning, Sean.
Oh, to be an investor. How much fun must it be on the back of what's going on in the US?
Well, we're in a funny time zone here, so I think it's the question that I've been speaking to a lot of friends and people in the markets about. Well, some of them get up in the middle of the night to see what on earth has happened, but normally for more sensible people, they get up, but what they do, they look at their phone, what did he say and do overnight, and he being Donald Trump. Tariffs on, off. Taking over different parts of the world, maybe, yes, no. What's he doing with tax policy? Elon Musk with his access to government spending files and what's going to be cut. Boy, oh boy, the investors, though, the volatility in the markets has been something to behold, but it's a lot of fun in a sense if you're not involved in the fallout from what President Trump is doing.
How did you approach economics when you've got this stuff going on? I mean, we went to air, like at 4 a.m. we recorded one day during the week and the tariffs at Mexico was off and he was meeting Trudeau in a few hours. By the time most people got up, the tariffs in Canada were off too, but, we had missed it. It's how do you do your job?
Really difficult. And I think, in fact, a couple of things that when I talk to people in my other job, I sort of say, I'm not going to make any firm commitments because I don't know, and nor does anybody else. And I suspect even Donald Trump doesn't know what he's going to be laying out in terms of all of those issues on tax, tariffs, international geopolitical events. He doesn't know. And so if he doesn't know, how can I know? And for the old folk out there, it's a bit like, do you remember Jeff Thompson, the fast bowler?
Yeah.
He was once asked, how do you know where you're going to bowl? I said, I don't know how I'm going to bowl. So God help the batsman. If I don't know where I'm going to bowl the ball, they don't know where it's going to come either. So that's why he was so erratic, so brilliant, so strange. But Trump is making our job as economists and certainly the investor's job really hard because the news value of what he's saying in many instances is really market moving. And I think that's why we're seeing these gyrations in stocks in particular. Bonds have rallied a bit over the course of the last week or two. That's because of the downside to growth, I think, from tariffs to the extent they're going to be rolled out. So, it's just a huge amount of noise. And for this next couple of months, probably a time to just put away the textbook, downplay a little bit of the macroeconomics and the economic data that's come out, although I'm shooting myself in the foot there, and more on what might be done in the US and then the retaliatory action from other countries too.
It'll be interesting, and maybe I'm not sure whether the surveys coming out this week are going to capture some of that, but at some point they will, because we have the NAB Confidence and Sentiment Survey for Business. We also have the Westpac Consumer Sentiment coming out.
Yes, but both really important surveys. I think the consumer sentiment number will capture the mood of last weekend, the end of last week and last weekend. So it'll have a little bit of this noise from the Trump's first week, 10 days in office. The NAB survey, I think, might just sort of capture his first few days since he was inaugurated on the 20th of January. So there might just be a little bit of noise about that too. But again, how's the Australian business sector going to react to it? What are they seeing? Do they have an exposure in the Canadian economy or in Mexico? Probably a little bit, not much. But do they have an exposure to China? You bet they do. And I think that's that sort of question where, for us in Australia, what happens with the tariff war between China and the US is going to have, even if we're not directly involved, the sort of first derivative of that trade conflict will be hitting us. So, whether it shows up in the NAB business confidence numbers, which, by the way, have been pretty subdued just the last few months, they've been tapering off as the economy slowed down. This is for the month of January. Maybe it'll have a bit more of a bit of softness there. Although on the consumer side, we're all a little bit more optimistic. And last week with the retail sales numbers too, which were a little bit better, and the household spending numbers, which were a little bit better. Maybe it's we consumers are starting to breathe a sigh of relief. We got those income tax cuts that we didn't spend initially. We're spending them now. We're looking forward to the RBA interest rate decision. Not far away now. I'm thinking, if they cut rates, I'm going to be a lot happier, certainly financially.
Yeah. What about the rate decision? We're still 2 weeks away, or less than 2 weeks, about 10 days away from that. Do you think what's happening in the US is going to play much of a role?
Not for this meeting, not for the 18th of February. I think the rate cut will be delivered. It's effectively priced into the markets. And when things are priced in, the RBA doesn't like to surprise the market. So if they didn't want to do it, I'm sure they'd be whispering to a couple of the journos out there to just sort of hose people down a little bit. And that hasn't happened to date. That hasn't happened. So I think that rate cut there, more of a question is what happens beyond that? What happens to the middle of this year and in the second half of the year when, as we were just saying before, the RBA doesn't know what's going to be the fallout from this Trump policy agenda. So they'll probably tread cautiously. We do know that the RBA, when there's a high amount of uncertainty, they do nothing. They don't cut, they don't hike. They prefer to just sit back and then we can move. And in the past, outside, pandemics and those sort of things, they have occasionally done a 50, if you've known, a 50 basis point move.
Yep.
When they think, we should have gone last time, but we didn't. Oh God, here we go. We've got the weakness confirmed or the strength confirmed. They'll go 50 basis points. Now, I'm not for a moment suggesting that, but that is the potential catch-up if we do get to the second half of the year. The economy's slowed down. Inflation's nice and low. And even though unemployment's still relatively low, it's ticking up. We might see them be a little more aggressive. But for the here and now, I think the 18th of February, as near as you can be certain about these things, yep, it's going to happen. And then the more cautious approach in the meetings after that.
We'll find out in a week. We'll talk again in a week. But in a Trump world, 7 days is a long, long time. So hopefully you're right, though.
A few hours is a long time. And in the corner of my screen, I've usually got the US futures open during our daytime, US nighttime. And according to sort of little utterances or leaks to the Wall Street Journal or the FT or something, you sort of says, oh gosh, it's just moved like 0.5%, which it's a big move in a stock market, overnight.
Yeah.
You think, what the hell happened? You check the headlines. Oh, Trump said something.
Something like that. He spoke.
Or he tweeted or something at midnight from his bedroom or whatever it was.
Amazing. Enjoy your week, Stephen.
You too, Sean.
That was economist Stephen Koukoulas, better known as The Kook. You can find him at thekook.com and follow him on X using the handle TheKouk, TheKouk. I'm Sean Aylmer. This is Fear and Greed, the week ahead.